You've tried the stretches, you've tried the painkillers, you've even tried resting for days at a time. And yet, that burning, shooting pain down your leg is still there. So what if the real problem has nothing to do with what you think it does? Welcome to Prime Health Lab, the channel where we help men over 50 reclaim their strength, air energy, and their quality of life through smart, natural approaches. Today, we're going deep on sciatica, not just what it is, but why it keeps coming back, and what you can actually do to stop it at the source. If that sounds like something you need, hit that subscribe button right now, because we put out content like this every single week. Now, the first thing you need to understand is that most men are chasing the wrong target. When the pain shoots down your leg, your first instinct is to think something is wrong with your spine. A slipped disc, maybe. A pinched nerve. And yes, sometimes the spine is involved. But here's what most people are never told. In a large number of sciatica cases, especially in men over 50, the spine is not the root cause. The real culprit is hiding somewhere far less obvious, and it's been sitting right underneath you this whole time. Meet Richard, 62 years old, retired engineer, a man who spent 35 years sitting at a desk for 8 to 10 hours a day. When the sciatica hit, he went straight to his doctor, got an MRI, and was told he had mild disc degeneration. He was given anti-inflammatory medication and told to do some light stretching. He followed the advice. The pain eased a little, and then came roaring back 3 weeks later, worse than before. What nobody told Richard was that his disc was not the main driver of his pain. His real problem was a small, deep muscle buried in his pelvis, called the piriformis. After decades of sitting, that muscle had become so tight, so shortened, and so overworked that it was pressing directly onto his sciatic nerve, the longest nerve in the human body, and sending pain all the way from his lower back down to his foot. Here is why this matters. The sciatic nerve runs through or right next to the piriformis muscle. When that muscle is healthy and flexible, it leaves the nerve completely alone. But when it tightens up, which happens gradually and silently over years of sitting, inactivity, or even certain types of exercise, it starts to squeeze. And that squeeze is what creates the burning, the aching, the numbness, and the shooting pain that men like Richard describe every single day. This is called piriformis syndrome, and studies suggest it may account for up to 40% of all sciatica cases. Yet most men never hear about it, because the medical system tends to look at the spine first, treat the spine first, and only considers the surrounding muscles as an afterthought, if at all. And here is the deeper problem. When you take painkillers or rest in bed, you are not releasing that muscle. You are simply quieting the pain signal temporarily. The moment you go back to your normal routine, sitting in a chair, driving, standing for long periods, the pressure returns. And so does the pain. Richard's story does not end there. But before we go further, I want to make sure this is landing for you. Because understanding this first piece, that the piriformis, not the disc, may be running the show, changes everything about how you approach your recovery. Now let's talk about what's actually keeping that muscle locked up, and why simply stretching it once or twice is not enough to fix the problem. Most men, when they find out about the piriformis, do exactly what you would expect. They Google a stretch, spend 5 minutes on the floor, feel a little relief, and assume they have handled it. A few days later, the pain is back, and they conclude that the stretch did not work. But here is the interesting part. The stretch probably did work. For those few minutes, the muscle released. The pressure on the nerve eased. The pain faded. So why did it come back? Because stretching a muscle that keeps returning to tension is like opening a window in a room where the heating is stuck on full blast. You get some fresh air for a moment. So what is the heat source in this case? There are actually 3 of them, and once you understand all 3, the whole picture starts to make sense. The first one is prolonged compression. Think about what happens when you sit for several hours. Your body weight presses down through your pelvis, and the piriformis, which is sandwiched in that region, gets loaded with pressure continuously. Over time, the muscle adapts to this compressed position. It essentially forgets how to fully lengthen. This is not weakness exactly. It is something closer to a learned shortness. The muscle starts treating the tight position as its new normal. This is why men who retire and suddenly have more time to rest often find their sciatica does not improve, and sometimes gets worse. They are sitting more, not less. The compression continues. The muscle stays locked. The second driver is something called reciprocal inhibition, and this is where things get really interesting. On the opposite side of your piriformis are your hip flexors, the muscles at the front of your hip that lift your leg and hold you upright when you sit. When hip flexors are chronically tight, which they almost always are in men who sit a lot, they send a signal to the muscles on the opposite side to switch off and shorten. Your piriformis is directly in that chain, so the tighter your hip flexors become, the more your piriformis responds by tightening in return. The two muscles end up in a constant tug of war, and your sciatic nerve is caught right in the middle. Now here is where Richard's story picks up again. When a physical therapist finally assessed him properly, not just his spine, but his entire movement pattern, she noticed something immediately. His hip flexors were extremely tight on the right side, his glutes were barely activating, and he had almost no awareness of how to move his hip independently from his lower back. Every time he walked, bent forward, or stood up from a chair, his lower back was compensating for a hip that had essentially stopped doing its job. That compensation was feeding directly into the piriformis tension that was strangling his sciatic nerve. This brings us to the third driver, and it may be the most overlooked one of all, glute weakness. Your gluteus maximus, the large muscle in your backside, is supposed to be the primary stabilizer of your hip and pelvis. When it is strong and active, it takes the pressure off the smaller, deeper muscles, including the piriformis. But after years of sitting, the glutes become what experts call inhibited. They are present, but they are barely showing up for work. And when the glutes go quiet, the piriformis is forced to pick up the slack. It works overtime. It gets exhausted. It tightens. And then it starts pressing on that nerve again. What Richard came to understand, and what changed his recovery completely, was that sciatica is not a pain problem. It is a movement problem. His body had spent decades building compensations on top of compensations until finally the system broke down and the nerve started screaming. The pain was not the enemy. The pain was the messenger. And once he understood the three drivers, chronic compression, hip flexor dominance, and glute inhibition, he stopped trying to silence the messenger and started addressing what the message was actually about. Now let's talk about what you can actually do. The specific, practical steps that address all three drivers we just covered in the right order, with the right intention. And the key phrase there is right order, because this is where most self-treatment programs fall apart. They give you a list of exercises and tell you to do them all. But if you strengthen a muscle that is still being compressed and dominated by a tight opposing muscle, you are building on a broken foundation. The results will be partial at best and frustrating at worst. So here is the framework. 3 phases, each one building on the last. You do not need a gym. You do not need equipment. You need about 15 to 20 minutes a day, a mat on the floor, and the patience to trust a process that works with your body instead of against it. Phase 1 is release. Before you strengthen anything, before you stretch anything aggressively, you need to reduce the compression on the sciatic nerve and begin coaxing the piriformis out of its locked state. The gentlest and most effective way to do this is through what is called positional release. And Richard described it as the first thing in years that gave him genuine, lasting relief within the first week. Here is how it works. Lie on your back with both knees bent and feet flat on the floor. Cross your right ankle over your left knee so your right leg forms a figure 4 shape. Now gently let the weight of your right knee drop outward, just slightly. Do not force it. Do not push. Simply let gravity do the work. Hold that position for 90 seconds, breathing slowly and deeply. You are not trying to stretch the muscle aggressively. You are giving it permission to let go. That distinction matters more than most people realize. Aggressive stretching of a compressed, irritated muscle often backfires. It triggers a protective reflex, and the muscle tightens further. Gentle, sustained positional release works with the nervous system rather than fighting it. Do this on both sides twice a day, once in the morning before you get out of bed, and once in the evening before sleep. Within 5 to 7 days, most men notice a meaningful reduction in baseline tension. Phase 2 is reactivation. This is where you wake the glutes back up. And the most important thing to understand here is that glute reactivation is not about intensity. It is about connection. You are not trying to exhaust the muscle. You are trying to reestablish the signal between your brain and a muscle that has been functionally asleep. Start with a simple glute bridge. Lie on your back, knees bent, feet flat. Before you lift your hips, squeeze your glutes deliberately. Hold that squeeze for 2 full seconds, and then press your hips up slowly. Hold at the top for 3 seconds, squeezing the entire time, and lower back down with control. Do 10 repetitions. Rest. Repeat twice more. What you are training here is not strength in the traditional sense. You are training your nervous system to remember how to recruit the glute before movement happens. That is the missing link for most men. The glute is there. It is just not being called on. This exercise reestablishes that call. After 2 weeks of consistent glute bridges, add a clamshell exercise. Lie on your side, hips stacked, knees bent at a comfortable angle. Keeping your feet together, slowly rotate your top knee upward like a clamshell opening. Go only as far as you can without your pelvis rolling backward. Hold for 2 seconds at the top. Lower slowly. 10 repetitions, 3 sets, both sides. This directly targets the gluteus medius, the side stabilizer of your hip, which is almost always weak in men with chronic sciatica, and plays a crucial role in taking load off the piriformis. Phase 3 is integration. This is the phase that turns temporary relief into permanent change. Because isolated exercises, no matter how well designed, will only take you so far. What ultimately retrains the body is learning to move differently in everyday life. The single most important integration habit Richard adopted was what his therapist called the hip hinge. Every time he bent forward to pick something up, to load the dishwasher, to tie his shoes, he consciously pushed his hips back first instead of rounding his lower back. This small shift transferred the load from his lumbar spine and piriformis region to his glutes and hamstrings, exactly where it belongs. Within a month, he described feeling like his body had found its alignment again for the first time in years. Pair that with one simple daily habit, standing up from your chair every 45 minutes and taking a 30-second walk, and you interrupt the compression cycle that keeps refueling the problem. You do not need a standing desk. You do not need a fitness tracker. You just need to move before the body forgets how. Richard followed this 3-phase framework consistently for 8 weeks. By week 3, he was sleeping through the night without waking from pain. By week 6, he had gone back to his morning walks. By week 8, he described the sciatica as something that used to define his days, and no longer did. He did not need surgery. He did not need injections. He needed someone to show him what was actually wrong and give him a framework his body could respond to. And now you have that framework too. Here is your challenge for this week. Tonight, before you go to bed, try the figure 4 positional release for 90 seconds on each side. Just that. No pressure, no performance. Simply give your body the signal that it is safe to let go. Notice how you feel in the morning. That one small step is the beginning of a very different relationship with your body, one built on understanding rather than fear. If this video gave you something valuable, share it with a man in your life who is still fighting this battle alone. And drop a comment below telling us how long you have been dealing with sciatica. You might be surprised how many others are on the same road and how much it helps to know you are not walking it by yourself. This is Prime Health Lab. We will see you in the next one.
Prime Health Lab is dedicated to men's internal health. Don't forget to like